Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Open eCry market commentary for the week of June 11th. My name is Toby Gennaro, and just taking a look here at some of the U.S. indices for the upcoming week. And starting off here with the S&P 500, we're looking at the ES futures on the weekly chart. And this is just a retracement here, that 50% retracement that coupled very nicely with this 1267 level. And so we just got a really nice bounce off of that right back into this 1240 level where we had a series of touches that go back quite a ways into last year. And so if we would have broken up through that and then come back down for a retest of this 1340 level on some of that Spanish bank bailout news, that would have been a very bullish signal. But the fact that we've just moved up into the 1340 level and then we're getting rejected down off of that and currently down around this 1317 level, if the price action hangs around this level too long without breaking it, more than likely we're going to be going down to retest or at least put in a higher low. As you can see here on the daily chart, we have a nice series of lower highs, lows, lower highs, again, the lower low, and then we got the bounce directly back to a higher high. So the trend is really in a no trend status right now. If we can get a pullback on this daily chart to actually put in a higher low, then we can actually start to look for the next higher high, and then we'd be actually in a trend change. On some of the lower time frames, we do have that. What I'd be looking at down here on at least the 240 is probably where you can see it the best, is looking for. There's a nice 50% retracement right here that comes down to about the 62% level, and there's some price action congestion right around that level. So there potentially might be a bounce off of this 62% level that might get us back into that 1340. But overall, we'd really be looking for, I think, a deeper pullback on the daily chart, looking to get that higher low in place before we actually get some kind of a trend change for right now. The news that's been coming out, I think we're going to be headline driven here for probably quite a while. A lot of that news still coming out of Europe and getting some of the country debt issues resolved in that region of the world. But you know, as we look at some of these charts, I wouldn't be too bullish on the S&P right here. I'd want to see some more candles form here to see exactly what's going to happen around this 1340 level. If we're actually going to break that level, or if we're actually going to come down, put in that new higher low, or if we're actually going to retest some of these levels that we were at just most recently. Let's go ahead and take a look at the Dow and see if we can see anything different on some of these charts. Dow's really looking very similar. Again, we had that 12,000 level, which was the 50% retracement that we just got a nice bounce off of, and then we came right back into this 12,565 level. That's been a pretty solid level here for quite some time. Got a little breakup through that, but it looks like we're getting a rejection candle forming, and we potentially might get a pullback. Now this is a weekly chart, so this candle still has another 4 days to go, so it's a little too early to tell. But the daily chart right here, depending on how the day closes out, this could be a very bearish candle, or it could potentially close higher and be a very bullish candle. So we'll just have to wait and see at the end of the day how that looks. But again, we have the lower low in place, and we went straight to a higher high. And so on the daily chart, we're still going to be looking for that higher low to get in place before we can start to move higher. Moving over to the NASDAQ, which I believe looks probably one of the more bullish charts that I think we're looking at this morning. As you can see, the 2420 level has been a pretty solid level here for quite some time. We got this most recent pullback right into that level, which coupled very nicely with a 62% retracement of that most recent low down here at 2150. And so getting a nice bounce off of that, and then coming right back into the moving averages. And as we look at the daily chart, we can see that this hasn't really happened on any of the other indices, but we actually have a lower low and a lower low here, and we actually have some divergence setting up on the daily chart, which can usually be pretty powerful on both the MACD and the RSI. So signaling to us a little bit that the trend might be weakening here. We could still get another move lower, but we've still gone from this lower low directly to a higher high. So still looking on the daily chart to put in that higher low, and then potentially looking for a move higher. As we move down on some of the time frames to like the 480 chart, looks a little bit more bullish here on the NASDAQ as opposed to any of the other indices. We have a very nice level coming in here that's been support and resistance for quite some time, and so we got a nice breakthrough here, and we're actually getting a nice pullback right into that level. If this level can hold, more than likely we'll get a bounce back off of here into another higher high off of that 2550 level. So one of the more bullish looking charts out of all the indices that I'd probably be looking to trade along, depending on how we close out the day here. And last, just looking at the Russell 2000 index to wrap up our coverage of the U.S. indices for the week. A couple levels here that we've been talking about for a while: the 725 level, 755, and then the 780 level. And again, we just had this retracement, basically a 50% retracement of the most recent low on the weekly chart down to the 650 level, all the way back up to this 850 level, with that actually a lower high back down from this 857 level. So on the weekly chart, we have a lower high in place, got the 50% retracement, got a nice bounce off of that right back into the 780 level, which we've been talking about for some time. Goes all the way back with a couple of touches here, all the way back to the first quarter of this year, and then several touches just within the last couple of months here. Finally broke that support level, got back, and now we're just getting a move right back up into that support level, which looks to be becoming resistance, and we're getting sold off of that level. As we go down to the daily chart, we'll know a little better by the end of today how we're going to close out this particular candle right here. If we close out at the lows of the day, it's going to be a very bearish candle. More than likely, we'd be looking for a retrace, potentially to put in a higher low. Could be down around this 740 level. If we can get in a higher low there, we'd be looking for definitely a move higher, and the chart would start to look a little bit more bullish. If we get a close of this candle and a rally into the close, we get a close somewhere up around the open. This could be a very bullish candle. We'd still need to see on the weekly chart, a break above the 780 level, and then we'd be looking for the retest of 780 to actually start getting bullish some of these charts. As you go down to some of the other time frames, like the 480 and the 240, there is an intermediate, shorter trend established with higher lows and higher highs. But again, we want to be comparing that in respect to the higher time frames to really get our guidance on some of the key levels and the real direction of where the markets might be headed here in the next week or so. So looking at the Russell, really going to be probably one of the more bearish charts that we've looked at today. The NASDAQ on the flip side is going to be probably one of the more bullish charts to look at. So keep in mind some of those key levels for trading this week, and hope those levels are useful to you for this week's trading. So thanks for watching this week's market commentary. If you are interested in some of the technical analysis that we do on these commentary videos, go ahead and take a look at the OpenECRI website under Education, and you'll find a series of videos and webinars there that you can register for, and we'll go ahead and teach you the technical analysis techniques and then some of the actual trade strategies that we use to trade the markets. So hope that helps, and we'll look forward to speaking to you again next week.